my names and spellings, yeah.
I'll be happy to. Absolutely.
So this is Angela. Angela runs the Child Care Center.
How are you?
One of our small business owners, graduate of the program as well.
When did you go through the program? Okay, so you went through the national program before you got busy here. And tell me about your business a little bit. Right, sure. Well, it's so important. I mean, you help the other small businesses too, because if you can't get back to work, we can give child care. Well, it's so nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Then right over here we have Jan Peters.
Very cool man.
Oh, thank you.
How are you? I'm doing great. So tell me about what you do.
So my firm
and serves the performing arts and the higher ed. We are revenue generators for their printed magazines, materials, and
So your industry was down there by that too.
absolutely, and while TESPA, for sort of like grant money was great for the performing arts halls and the artists, those are supporting the industry.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. And we made it a point to make sure to try to keep those venues alive, but didn't transfer over to you because you were a contractor with them. Yeah. That's it. We'll talk about that.
Thank
So we
you.
got Corey Parker here, who's the chair of the state council.
Nice to meet you. You know what, when I saw the brief on this thing today, no offense to the Trump contracting, but I said, the guy I want to meet is the chicken and muffins guy.
And then the last two here, Johnny Thompson, Sullivan.
I think it's,
And then Brent McClellan, here you go. We'll transition to Brent.
I just want to meet everybody.
That's great.
It says round table, but it's
Yep.
really more of a U table.
Yeah. We wanted to be inclusive, invite everybody in.
That's nice, yeah.
Well, Governor, thank you so much for being here today. As you mentioned on the tour, you were there in 2017 when we announced the expansion of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. We've served over 450 small business owners in the state of Maryland, and we're really looking forward to continuing to grow that number in the years ahead. You've seen sort of just the range of small business owners that we have who complete this program, from chicken and waffles to custom suits to construction, childcare, transportation, media. All industries are welcome in the program. Based on feedback that we received from the small business owners over the course of the last decade, we heard that they wanted to get more involved in advocacy for small businesses directly with elected officials. So based on their feedback and also the feedback that we saw obviously just caused by the pandemic, we launched 10,000 Small Businesses Voices in April of last year, which is really designed to let small business owners like those with us today advocate directly with elected officials like yourself. And whether that be through surveys or focus groups or, again, meetings like today, we're really trying to make that connection and let the small business owners do the talking as best as possible. So this is the last, hopefully, you'll hear from me today. And that's why we're here today. We're thankful for everything that you've done as governor for small businesses, and we look forward to continuing the partnership moving forward. Small businesses, as we all know, are the backbone of not just the Maryland, but all the United States. But they're continuing to face challenges faced by the pandemic. We released a survey yesterday of over 1,200 small business owners all over the country. 75% of them said that they're concerned about the rising COVID-19 cases. 86% said they're concerned about inflation. 73% are currently hiring, which is great news, but 87% of them are having difficulty with that hiring. So those are all things that we look forward to talking about with you today. But I turn it over for you, and then again, we'll just go around and let the small business owners give another, just make sure that they have a little chance to speak about their business before we go into the rest of the conversation. So with that, Governor, I turn it over to you, and thank you again for being here.
Well, thank you very much, Matt, and thank all of you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to the conversation. First of all, Tiara, thank you for hosting us. Thanks for giving me a tour of your very successful business. Matt, I want to thank Goldman Sachs for this incredible program with 10,000 small businesses. I was proud to be there in 2017 when we first really started the program in Maryland, and to congratulate the first folks who had been through the program. And since then, it's just been an incredible partnership with our small business community, with the state of Maryland, with Goldman Sachs. And so I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing to help small businesses. I want to thank all of our small business owners. I'm really anxious to hear about some of the issues and concerns. I'm a lifetime small business owner myself. I had never held office before. I ran for governor because I was really frustrated about how difficult it was to do business in this state. In 2013, our overall economic performance was 49th out of 50 states, and about 10,000 small businesses had left the state. We lost about 100,000 jobs, and I just got frustrated and said, I want to try to do something about that. So the only reason I ran for governor was because I wanted to turn our economy around, put more people to work. I said we're going to be unabashedly pro-business. Our slogan became, Maryland is open for business. And I've been focused on those small business owners. How do we help them grow? How do we put more people to work? We've cut taxes 7 years in a row. We've cut regulations. We've tried to come up with every program we can imagine to help foster growth with workforce development, with grants and loans, and trying to mentorships and apprenticeships. And it's been a success. We've had the most businesses open and the most people working ever in the history of the state. And in spite of the threats of COVID and how difficult that was for everybody to get through, we provided $2.1 billion in aid directly to people that were struggling before we got the federal money. We got the legislature to push the largest tax cut in state history to let small businesses and struggling families keep more money in their own pockets, $1.45 billion. And as a result, we were coming out of this better than most other people. On COVID, as of today, our positivity rate dropping again down to 4.5. We're the second lowest case rate in America because we've been really focused on the health metrics. We also have one of the best economic recoveries. We've had the biggest economic turnaround in America. And it's because of you. 80% of all of our jobs come from small business owners. And so I want to shut up because I really want to hear from the group and get your input and questions about the struggles you're faced with, or maybe about some of the programs that have helped you, that you've worked with, or what we can do to make it even better for you. But I'm just proud to be here with all of you, and I want to thank you. I know it's been an incredibly difficult time, and yet many of you have been able to make it through. And our goal is to try to keep small businesses in business, and so we can keep people working. And I think we're coming out of it pretty good. We added 22,000 jobs last month. 55,000 so far this year, and that's coming out of a really dark period. So I think we're heading in the right direction, and I'm anxious to hear how we can help you.
So with that, maybe we'll turn it over to Kari. So I know you met Chicken and Waffles Man, everybody's best friend.
I am. That's why I'm sitting next to him.
That's right. That's intentional. So Kari, maybe if you could kind of introduce yourself again just very briefly, and then also talk about, what are some of the things that have been most helpful to you in the past year, things that you've done to try to be flexible, because again, if one thing, the pandemic is one thing, it's y'all's flexibility. So with that, I'll shut up and then we'll kind of just move around.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, Matt. And Governor, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate you. I'm Kari Parker, a co-founder of Connie's Chicken and Waffles. We started back in 2016 in Lexington Market, opened up and expanded throughout Maryland and Delaware. Right now, we're in a period of time where...
Can we get one in Annapolis?
we would actually very much love to come down to Annapolis. This past year has been uncertain. Like everyone else, we've had our ups and downs, but we're staying optimistic. I'll say that the biggest thing is that we benefited from the PPP. There was also sales tax credit that we benefited from. So we benefited in a number of ways. Our biggest concern at this point is just staffing. Getting team members that have worked for us, because the economics of a smaller business aren't always as good as the larger businesses.
Yeah.
So figuring out ways that we can maybe work with larger businesses, create a pipeline will be very helpful.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The PPP money from the federal government was tremendously helpful. The direct grants to restaurants that we did at the state level, I think you took advantage of.
Yes.
And when I mentioned the tax cut we got through, part of that was the sales tax. You know, you don't have to pay that, so you were able to keep some of that money to help with your cash flow, and hopefully all those things were helpful. But I get the whole shortage of workforce, you know, the supply chain issues and problems. You can't get all the things you need. It's going to continue to be a challenge, but we're well aware of it and trying to do everything we can to help. So thank you.
So again, good afternoon. I'm Angela Kadani from Kids Stuff Child Care Center. I just first want to tell you, as a citizen of Maryland, I really appreciate your leadership during the pandemic. It has meant so much to, you know, my family as well as to, you know, small businesses in the community. And as you mentioned, child care is the backbone of America. Other individuals cannot work if they don't have quality child care. And so like Connie's Chicken and Waffle, Kids Stuff Child Care just across our state is struggling with workforce. We were already struggling prior to the pandemic to, you know, offer a livable wage, you know, and stay competitive to other industries. Now that has just, you know, skyrocketed. I think there's something like 700 open jobs on Indeed for early childhood education. And so we aren't able to open classrooms or to continue to accept new families without workforce. And so we really need something to be done about attracting new individuals to our industry. And so we just want the help of, you know, our local government to assist us with, you know, just putting some sort of campaign out there to attract individuals to the industry so that we can continue to serve other citizens in our state.
Well, Angela, thank you very much. You know, all the other businesses rely on your business, because one of the problems we have in not getting workers back into the small businesses, back to work, is that they can't get adequate child care. So it becomes kind of a vicious cycle. So we've got to get, you know, people into your industry so that people can, you know, have a safe place to put their kids, and somebody's going to take care of them while they can go back to work and provide for their families. And you know, we're well aware of the problem. We right now in Maryland have far more jobs available than ever before in the history of the state, far more jobs than we have people unemployed, but we can't get people to take certain jobs. And so we got to figure out ways to provide incentives and to try to help you, because that's going to help the rest of our country.
Right.
So thank you for what you do.
Good morning, Governor, and thank you for meeting with us this morning. I was in the Baltimore cohort number 2 in 2018, and so just want to thank you for, again, as Angela said, your leadership. But when you said just wear the darn mask, I felt the same way. You said it a different way, but
You know, I said it differently, and my cousin is a minister, and he got on a Zoom with me with his little kids, and they were saying, you know, you really shouldn't use bad words like that. Wash your mouth out with soap. It's the only way I could convey the message strongly.
right. No. And I hope people got it, because I feel the same way. But just want to also acknowledge Goldman Sachs' $10,000 Small Businesses Program. I feel that because I was in the program, I was prepared, not necessarily for the pandemic, but for the aftermath, right? And so when some small businesses may have been struggling to apply for the funds that were available, I felt that I was prepared. You know,
Good.
I had gotten my financials. As a matter of fact, the pandemic started in March. I had just gotten my taxes prepared, and I have a CPA, so I have my financial statements, and that really was something that was impressed upon us through the 10,000 Small Businesses Program. And so I was able to take advantage of many of the offerings through the federal at the federal level and at the state level. And then when you converted the loans to grants, I mean, I wanted to kiss you. Because I thought that I was going to be, you know, so much in debt because of this pandemic.
Yeah.
And I wish that, you know, at the federal level, they would, you know, consider that, because I really feel like there's going to be a deep issue with people who have taken the EIDL loan and really don't understand the ramifications of that interest that is accruing every day, even though they have given you a 2-year grace period. But I diverged. I just wanted to talk about my business specifically, and had a wonderful conversation with Angela as it related to the number of businesses that really need transportation, but there is no funding for it. I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations and, community-based organizations, and they really just don't have funding for transportation. And even though we feel that we're offering a competitive rate, they're, still in need. I mean, just this month, I've had 2 substance abuse clinics call me to provide transportation for their citizens from transition homes to groups, but they don't get reimbursed for transportation.
That's great.
And so that is something that I just wanted to, hopefully put on your radar, put on the radar of the people that work with you. And, in addition to the fact that, there's a national driver shortage. I mean, every school system in the state, probably in the country, is begging CDL drivers that are qualified to drive school buses. And so then we are not only competing with them, but competing with people that, maybe not even have the qualifications that we're looking for, but looking for a wage that is not commensurate with their skill set and what we're able to offer. And so I just wanted to say that. And then the last thing is that I just met your wonderful Mr. Amin here, who encouraged me to call him because there may be opportunities for us to secure grants for energy efficient vehicles. And being in this space allowed me to get that information that I would not have known otherwise.
That's terrific.
So thank you so much for your leadership and for your staff.
Well, thanks for giving him a shout out too. Thank you very much. It is what I'm on the turning the loans into grants. First we were saying we have to find a way to help these businesses survive, and we found some money. I mean, this was in the middle of the crisis. Nobody knew how long it was going to last. And our program, we put it out there as fast as we could to help as many people as possible. And then as we got into it, and we had access to some federal funding and some things we could do flexibility on our budget as our numbers weren't as bad as we thought they were going to be. I made the decision to say, these businesses are struggling and they're not going to be able to pay these loans back. And this is going to last much longer than we expected it to. And so we waived them and turned them into grants that you don't have to pay back, which, I think, but it kept kept people working. It's, we don't want to have businesses close and then, so it's a wise investment, I think, of tax dollars for people that really needed it. Transportation sector was really hurt. On some of our own state-owned transportation, you look at BWI was down 90%. The people that were riding, the MTA or the Metro was down 90%. You trying to get people into that sector, to get people to and from their places of work or, from one place to another. I know it's a challenge. The school bus driver crisis is a huge challenge. Every school system across America right now. But I'm going to have my staff follow up with the specific thing you talked about, which was, there should be reimbursements for some of those transfers, and we got to figure out state, local governments how we can help address that. And you have the coolest glasses in math, by the way.
Great. Governor Hogan, thank you for being here, and thank you for your early and sustained leadership throughout the pandemic.
Thank you.
It was a moment to be proud of being a Marylander, for sure. My business serves higher ed and the performing arts. Performing arts have been hit so hard, and while there have been plenty of grants and supports for the venues and the artists, those of us who support those industries haven't been eligible. And so the PPP was instrumental and kept us alive. But as we're still seeing concern, will people return to the theaters if they do have up capacity? There have been so many opportunities for those venues to survive, and not so much the support staff. So if there are other opportunities for those contractors that support businesses that suffer, and I would even draw the comparison, say, to those that support the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Kari's contractors that support it from a marketing perspective or from a uniform or a cleaning perspective, all of those industries that support those that are getting relief, the contractors that support those aren't necessarily eligible.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We put $2.1 billion into helping all businesses have state money, and then we had all the money from the federal government, which was billions more. But certain industries that were obviously shut down, we tried to have targeted grants and loans and direct assistance. So the restaurant and bar industry, the hospitality industry, and the entertainment venues we helped them survive, but I get how you were left out of the mix because you couldn't do business, but you didn't get the benefits. So I want to follow up to see if we can, find a way to how you might qualify for some of the things that you didn't get because you're part of that industry, and the industry's obviously suffered because nobody could go into, a concert venue or, some other, performing arts. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, my name is Christopher Schaefer. I make custom suits for a living, and I also.
I might have to get some new suits because I lost a few pounds.
I know. I'm also the founder of Sharp Dress Man, where we recycle suits to dress guys for job interviews who are getting back up on their feet.
That's great.
And thanks. And
I might be able to help you with that too because I got a bunch of fat suits if there's any overweight guys that need to go get a job interview.
Actually, I think someone from your staff had brought some of your father's suits to us
Yeah.
a while back.
Well, I'm gonna bring you mine.
I actually put them on somebody. They had his name on, so it's like
Oh, wow.
yeah. So we're kind of doing a whole 360 thing. We make new suits, and then we recycle ones that help people get back up on their feet. And it's been very trying during this time because we had to shut down for 3 months, in the beginning of it all, and that kind of just went from a couple weeks. Next thing you know, you're 3 months into it, and we're at a spot right now where because people aren't dressing up as much because of events and going into the office
True.
and everything like that, and we're down 50%. And
Wow.
we just hit a decade in business last fall, and so it's been tough. It's been affecting the nonprofit organization as well because even though we've still managed to suit up 2,000 guys a year for free, we're just not seeing them face to face now. We're kind of sending it out to the organizations. We think that thing is going to really grow when we come out of this because there's going to be a lot of people who are unemployed or change careers that are going to need the help with the clothing. So, but I think, one of the big things I wanted to say to you was just thanks for thinking and acting like an entrepreneur and understanding like, wow, that's some industries are thriving. If you were doing something that was, home construction or things like that, I have a couple brothers that are plumbers and they've been rocking.
Yeah.
So it's definitely has affected us. But we have the sales credit thing, the sales tax thing was great. Thank you for that. It's like a lot of my role is switched to being, doing paperwork and doing my accountant all the time and everything like that. And thank God I have a young guy that works for me, and he's been holding down the fort. Because when I started the 10,000 Small Businesses program, I was kind of giving him some room to run the show. We were halfway through our cohort when COVID hit, and everything went online. So it was kind of like what you're saying. We were kind of getting ready for what was going to happen next, but didn't know this was going to happen. So,
Right.
It's we've been holding on real tight and trying to ride it out. But I also just found out that my location in Baltimore was just sold, and so I have to move on top of all this, and I'm dealing with banks trying to go and look at my 2020 numbers and 2021 numbers, which are down.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's definitely a very tricky time. But I'm determined. I'm so determined to make it through this because in my soul, I believe that when this comes out, when this is done, it's going to be a new version of the Roaring 20s. And people are going to care about how they dress because you've been able to be casual for so long. And so I'm just holding on super tight. I kind of thought things were coming to a close here as we were going in autumn. My kids
Most
were going
people
to
did.
school, and it's a big time for fashion. Things cool down. At some point they cool down, and
Yeah.
so just being kind of like really holding on tight. And I think I went to your 1-year inauguration party at the Naval Academy, and just seeing the kind of reel of what you dealt with in the first year was pretty powerful. It was like it was pretty amazing to see it. I was surprised when you wanted to even run again. So I was like, why would this guy want to do this again? But I'm glad you're doing it. I think you're doing an awesome job. Keep rocking.
Well, thank you very much, Christopher. I'm sorry you're going through all the struggles like everybody else. Thank you for the charitable organization, Sharp Dress Man. I think it's great to help people that are going for job interviews.
Thanks.
I really am going to donate some of my big suits that don't fit anymore, and I probably need to come buy some suits from you.
Love to.
But it's people don't think about that. Everybody was on Zoom. They were staying home. They were you know, they might have had a tie and a coat on, but they had gym shorts or sweats underneath.
Pajamas.
Yeah, pajamas. You know, we are going to come out of this, and you know, we've been through adversity before, but thanks to, you know, Goldman Sachs and Jan talked about it, or you know, hopefully they gave you some good advice about how to, you know, manage your books to get through. They gave you some good real world experience, and then we've tried to help with the sales tax credits, with the grants, with the loans, and so anything we can continue to do. My main focus in life, the only reason I ran was to help small businesses grow and turn our economy around. And that's still my number one mission, even though, you know, we got sidetracked and had to overcome a lot of challenges we weren't expecting. But we're going to keep
Said a
focused.
mouthful there, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Brendan McCluskey. I'm the principal of Trident Builders. We're a commercial general contracting firm based in Maryland. I'm going to go ahead and be, you know, what, 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 on this. And I want you to really appreciate the sincerity of the thanks of your leadership over the last 2 years. You know, when COVID hit and everything that it brought a lot of like stress to everyone. But I think small businesses in particular, because it was not only threatening our lives, but it was also threatening our livelihoods.
Exactly.
And I think when we needed leadership the most, right, we were seeing a pretty strong absence of it in Washington, D.C., as well as elsewhere across the country. And I would say one of the few respites of I guess, relaxation I had is that at least here in Maryland, we had a captain at the helm with a firm hand. And I want to thank you for being decisive, all right, being creative with your problem solving, and just basically being solutions oriented. These are all things that you as an entrepreneur like can appreciate, and what we appreciate ourselves. So again, I do
Well,
mean
thank
to
you.
So our personal experience through it, like it was great to be deemed essential, right?
Well, I was going to mention that because a lot of other states shut down construction industry. We kept it open the entire time. You know, right next door in Pennsylvania, it was all shut. They lost tons of jobs, and we kept, you know,
Yeah.
contractors and builders and construction companies all open.
Yeah, well, and so like at least we're given the pathway to do it. But just like some of the other experiences that people hear, all of a sudden, like, you know, basically the ecosystem collapsed around us. So we were, you know, 60% DoD like contracting, right, and then 40% in the private sector. Our bread and butter was high-end residential restaurant and high-end hospitality, right? So 3 days after St. Patrick's Day in 2020, we lost $5 million of backlog. 2020 was our breakout year. We were going to experience 400, 500% year-over-year growth. Okay, we were going to make a bundle of money. We were finally to the promised land, and that did not happen, right? Then to compound that, the DoD went on code red, and so we were shut out for 3 months. So all the lifelines that you threw out, the grant, by the way, was a masterstroke. Needless to say, my wife and I opened up a bottle of wine when we saw the news release. All right,
Hey, Jan was going to kiss me, and you guys were popping champagne.
Yeah, that was a very, very appreciated move, because I'll tell you right now, our current existence is that everyone seems to have blinders on or have amnesia, right? The credit requirements, right? So 2020 was supposed to be a breakout year. Well, 2021's been awesome, right? But I'm really trying to scale this thing going into 2022. What we're seeing is a heightening of capital requirements from insurance companies as well as bonding companies. So you basically have, and then banks are that much more hesitant. They don't want to see
At a time when you really need access to capital, they're restricting the ability to get it. That sounds like a Goldman Sachs problem. They're going to help you fix
We're
that.
working on it.
Well, see, that's actually the one great thing about the Goldman Sachs Voices program, right? It's only through this sort of like collaboration and this conversation, like amongst ourselves. Like we talk amongst ourselves, and then we address our leadership. The Voices program has been great because I'm having the exact same supply chain issues and workforce development issues that Kari's have, right? Okay, your and I problems are almost identical across the board, and then like we're dealing with nonprofit work and like trying to do good things in communities in Baltimore that really need help, right? But there's a constant friction and a dysfunction that's happening, I think, at the state and city level that he was talking to. Is like, yeah, I see it all day long. For example, the state of Maryland and the grant process is now 9 months in arrears on paying us on a community center. There are definitely things that we're all kind of experiencing together. But again, just really thankful for like the leadership, because not for nothing, like we wouldn't be here right now if we didn't have some of the support and the leadership that we had over the last 2 years. So thank you.
I didn't do that. Somebody lost their camera. Yeah, thank you very much. And I'd like to have some of my staff talk to you about the issue you just talked about with the NIMA. I mean, there's no question certain state agencies, like everybody else, was affected by COVID and lack of people being there, but that's inexcusable. We should figure out how to get that
All right,
process
thank you.
moving faster.
Appreciate that.
And hi again, thank you again for attending. And I will definitely say, although I was in a Baltimore cohort, I will definitely say Goldman Sachs is still helping us. You know, they really helped leverage us as we were able to grow and scale to where we are right now. In addition to even as last year of helping us with the PPP round one, without the Goldman Sachs link that I'm sure all of you all got, I don't think we would have been able to get the funding as quick as we needed it. So I will definitely say again, thank you. Goldman Sachs is still helping 6 years later after I graduated from the program. But as Brendan had said, so
You're almost like a dean now. You could give the course. You're 6 years out of the program.
yeah. So within the transportation industry, although we were deemed essential, we are now feeling the effects as we were on, 1 and 2 year projects that was able to allow us to continue to keep working on the heavy civil transportation opportunities. What we're now seeing again is supply chain issues that are beyond not only our control, but one of the things that definitely looking to address is in this folder, I have data and documentation from 3 prime contractors, 2 subcontractors, including myself, and another subcontractor and a trade organization, Maryland Transportation Materials and Builders Association, of the effects that are happening with the supply chain shortage as well as our contracts that we have with the state. And unfortunately, I have one subcontractor. Right now, he's looking to basically have to eat $225,000 because of the price of steel has gone up within 8 months. And unfortunately, within the contracts, there are no way to renegotiate. Though we have stipulations in some of the state contracts where we're able to negotiate from a fuel tax as well as the concrete. So within here,
But
there's
not
some,
steel.
not steel, in other commodities, PVC pipe. So I was able to gather some documentation of what other states are kind of doing to help
Great.
relieve some of the pressures for subcontractors and prime contractors, because $225,000
That's
is
not
nothing
right.
to sneeze at. That not only can take your profit, but take you under
Right.
on one contract. And especially being a minority business, with state documentation, there are certain documents that we have to sign. And us walking away from a project could significantly hurt us and be detrimental to our industry, to our companies. So these are some things that, would hope that maybe MDOT, because we're 100% DOT and MDOT contractor, that possibly could be looked at.
Well, I'd love to look at that. Thank you for bringing that suggestion up. We have some of our staff members here. I'm going to make sure you get cards so you can follow up directly with my office. The good news is that we're coming out with new transportation plans, putting record amounts of money. We've now already resurfaced 90% of the entire state highway system. We're fixing every bridge. We're building the Howard Street Tunnel. We're
Thank you.
building the new American Legion Bridge and fixing 270. And there's all record investments in transit and roads and other infrastructure. The bad news is, we are all affected by COVID and supply chain issues, but I think that is something we should address. Look, I'm very proud of the fact that Maryland's best in the country at small, minority, and women-owned businesses, that we just got named the best improved state for business in the country. But our procurement is still kind of antiquated. And if there's some flexibilities that address, it's through no fault of, some people, they underbid a contract and they made a mistake and then they try to come back for changes. So they do have reasons for keeping it. But in the state of emergency, when, we got constrained markets, it seems as if we got to have some way to listen to those cases and say, can we renegotiate a contract to include the new cost of materials?
The steel mill quoted a project.
I'd like to follow up on that one.
Please.
That's a good one to think
Yeah,
about.
Steel mill quoted a project $735,000 in January of 2021. Right now, it's for $1 million is the asking price.
Yeah, well,
8 months later.
it's the lack of materials and a lack of labor, so
Very much
you can't finish contracting, right? It's costing you more to hire people, it's costing you more to get the materials, and we want to get the projects done.
Yes.
So Well, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for hosting us. Congratulations on all your success. Thanks for showing me the Beast, the original truck that your dad drove. It really shows the power of small businesses, and I'm very thankful that all of you took the time to talk with me. I'm proud of all of you for going through the Goldman Sachs program and for helping put Marylanders to work and for all the services you provide. And thank you for I'm a little bit humbled. I didn't. The media's here. We didn't tell everybody to say all the great things. So, but thank you for saying the nice things. We had a whole team of people working day and night for 500 some days to try to worry about lives and livelihoods. And hey, we didn't get everything right, but I feel pretty good about where we are compared to the other 49 states. So thank you very much. And I really do want to follow up from this. So you're going to have all of our information. Contact us. I want to follow up on some of the specific issues that we can help you with. It's really helpful to me to get the input and to hear about what you're faced with. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I think one thing, just in the final, we can go around really quickly. Just one final. One of the great things about small businesses is just how agile and flexible and how innovative they all are. So maybe if we start with sort of like, we can end just with them sort of saying one thing that they're sort of looking forward to, one opportunity they see. And I know Kari, while he's a chicken and waffles guy, he's got a couple of them. We'll just sort of end, and then we can do some photos. And
Great.
everybody has. So what's one thing, Kari, that you sort of are hopeful for as you kind of look to the future in this, it's National Small Business Week. So what are you looking forward to?
Thank you. I'd say in general, I'm looking forward to just getting our team members more training, keeping more team members locked in. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Voices has really got us in front of a lot of local leaders like this opportunity right now, the roundtable. But to summarize, I would say just focusing in on our team because our team members actually help our customers. So specifically focusing on our team members more.
That's great. Thank you.
So we had an opportunity to acquire a piece of commercial property during the pandemic. So we are looking forward to moving from being a renter to now being an owner.
Congratulations.
Thank you, which totally takes down, of course, that overhead of being a renter versus now owning our own space. So now having our center inside of a space that we own, we're pretty excited about that. And so as we gain more workforce, we'll be able to open our center in a new community to serve new families.
Well, that's wonderful. I'd love to be there for the ribbon cutting.
Awesome.
Help you get moved in. I can carry furniture.
Similar to what Angela said, we rented lot space for 15 years that we've been in business. And I'm sure through your wonderful thinking and leadership, there is new grant dollars available for vacant commercial space.
Yes.
To reimburse for rent.
We just put $25 million in for a program
Yes,
like that.
and so, I'm all over this when it's trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to get some additional funding. So, I've been talking to this gentleman who owns a warehouse with a lot, with the possibility of renting with the option to own. And so I'm really excited about that opportunity. And actually, right after this, I'm going to speak to him about that location.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have the theaters back open. Folks on the stage, Broadway's back in Baltimore next month. If there are patrons in the seats and performers on the stages, then I can do what I do, which is sell advertising to those eyeballs. So I'm just excited that we can safely and appropriately open the venues.
Yeah, me too. But thank you.
So what's next? Are you running for mayor or president?
Is those the only two options? I could also be a small business guy again.
You're not gonna. You can't say.
I have 17 months left to be governor, and I can promise you I'm going to keep working every single day, worried about how to help you guys get out of this, and that's what I'm focused on.
Considering running for mayor?
I actually live in Anne Arundel County, so I don't think I qualify to run for mayor.
Good move.
What I'm looking forward to is, we've all been through an awful lot in the last couple of years, and I think there's a lot of small businesses are really trying to do some really creative things and solve some really deep-seated problems, especially Baltimore. But I know we're trying to solve these problems everywhere. I think small businesses are uniquely equipped to address some of these, and I'm enthusiastic that we can develop dialogue, and you can hear about what some of these companies that in our community are doing, and even some that are outside the community, about how we could use and leverage state support to work nimbly and aggressively to start actually instituting some real change and start solving some of these problems.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Brett.
I'm looking for continued opportunity to be able to
to create good paying jobs for those in the local community, that we can take people, continue to take people from